CFL's Roughriders are coming up on CFN. Tom Dixon is set to kick off the season opener between the Ottawa and Saskatchewan Roughriders. John Gregory, the head man of the Roughriders, going into his second year, has set a goal of competing for first place. And Fred Glick, also second-year head coach for the Ottawa Roughriders, and he says, we want to be a 500 team.
Interesting meeting with them this year as compared to last year. Both are so much more confident with their personnel and the experience that they have.
Dixon hits the ball, and we're underway, and Joe Fuller will catch the opening kickoff at his 5. And Fuller is up to the 30-yard line. Brought down by Gabe De La Garza, one of the new Ottawa Roughriders. Former Ottawa Roughrider Tom Burgess will start at quarterback for Saskatchewan. And he nosed out Kent Austin.
And fully recovered from that shoulder injury, has been throwing the ball well, as all the quarterbacks have in the Regina camp. Suffered that shoulder injury on Labor Day last year, just when he was seeming to hit his stride, and his first pass is incomplete behind the intended receiver, Ray Elgard. Well, Burgess' experience, it should lead him to see the openings that happen quickly in the defense. Very astute young man, a student of the game. Steve Goldman, the new offensive coordinator, has worked an awful lot with all the quarterbacks refining their game.
John Gregory says Burgess has a quiet confidence about himself this year that he did not have last year. Second down and 10 for Saskatchewan at their 30-yard line. And play is stopped for the time being as the officials consult on something. Roughriders from the West were 5-12-1 last year and missed the playoffs for the 11th year in a row. Ottawa had that terrible 3-15 record. And they are optimistic, and I think with reason, that they can improve themselves vastly this year. Second and 10, Saskatchewan. The ball at their 30, the game just underway. Burgess sends Brown wide left. McDonald to the right. And throws over the middle for Elgard. Catchable ball. He couldn't squeeze it.
2 plays in a row directed at the inside receiver, probably trying to tighten down that defense. Both were catchable. I'm sure Burgess would like to start a little bit better, get some receptions, but he's seeing what he wants to.
Terry Baker, the second-year punter for the Roughriders from Mount Allison in Nova Scotia, will kick on 3rd and 10 at the Saskatchewan 30. Good snap, lots of time for Baker, who hangs one up there. It's caught on the run by Orville Lee, who steps out of bounds at the Ottawa 43-yard line as he catches the football. And Art Schleister makes his appearance, and you can perhaps hear a rumbling in the crowd. I don't want to say they view this guy as a messiah, Neil, but a lot is expected of Art Schleister, don't you think?
Oh, I'm quite sure it is. They've been looking for more offense. He has all the abilities athletically. A strong mental player, understands the game. They are expecting big things.
Hasn't played for 3 years. His last start was in 1985 for Indianapolis, and he drops, gets away from Jurison, and this is what Schleister can do. He has a first down for Ottawa, very close to
it. It's a great start. Good quarterbacks have a sense of being able to improvise. Fred Glick said the offensive game plan going in tonight was to get the quarterback outside. Whether it's sprint, whether it's drop and roll, he wants to get them out. Then they feel they can run the ball inside. Head upfield and get down low quickly.
Now, we talk about good athletes, but this guy is really a terrific athlete, as we saw in that run. The moves he has, the control he has over his body, and he can add a dimension, as we saw in that play.
Well, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more good things. The sense that he will have when, for example, the last play, Jurison comes loose. He doesn't try to beat him to the sideline, makes a little move and gets upfield.
Short yardage team on second and about a foot for Ottawa at their 52. The handoff goes to Orville Lee, the rookie, and he vaults over the right side and gets 2 or 3 and plenty for the Ottawa first down.
The Ottawa Roughriders are very pleased with what they see in Orville Lee, as they are with other running backs. He's going to get great lead blocking from his fullback, Jim Reed. Larry Moore go in. He decides to get off the ground, doesn't see anything open quickly, and gets himself the first down. Tremendous athlete and quite a gentleman from what I understand.
Lee was the first player chosen overall in the CFL draft this year, and Jeff Fairholm of Saskatchewan was number 2. First and 10, Ottawa, center field. Schleister has Jim Reed wide open, and he bulls his way near the 45 of Saskatchewan, close to another Ottawa first down.
I think what we're seeing right there is a little bit of patience from your quarterback. The running back will always, in this case, go to the flat. If the linebacker does not come up and close on him, throw him the ball. That means the linebacker has dropped deep, got the patience, looks downfield, and sees a man open and takes it. Not a first down, but it's moving the ball upfield. You don't have to do it all at once.
Another second and half a yard again, this time at the Saskatchewan 45. And they put their short yardage team in. Mark Lewis goes motion to the left. And the handoff is to Orville Lee. He finds a good hole. Down to the 36 of Saskatchewan. Art Schleister at quarterback for Ottawa. His running backs are Jim Reed, the 10-year vet, and Orville Lee, the rookie. The receivers, Alphin and Hudson inside, Mark Lewis and newcomer Greg Lathan outside. And the offensive line anchored by 14-year veteran Marv Alamang. And newly acquired Terry Ilarenko, picked up in the equalization draft from Calgary. And they're pleased to have him. First and 10 at the Saskatchewan 37 for Ottawa. Schleister, lots of time. Can't find anybody. And is down for a loss of a couple of yards. James Curry and Gary Lewis stopping Schleister.
On the other side of the football, the defensive game plan, they felt they had to keep Schleister inside the pocket. Disciplined pass lanes. Sounds very easy to do, but if you don't stay in the same direction going upfield, a quarterback like Schleister or a Matt Dunnigan or those types of quarterbacks can hurt you. Good, solid pass rush.
Second and 13, Ottawa, Saskatchewan 40-yard line. 4.5 minutes into the game, no score. Schleister moves up in the pocket, scrambles around, and he won't get away again. He's down and fumbles the ball. But I believe they had whistle play dead. Yes, they had. So Ottawa will keep the football. And we'll look at about 3rd and 16 or 17 at the Saskatchewan 44.
Once again, Schleister play action to Orville Lee. Doesn't get the bite he wants to from the linebackers. Eddie Lowe. Albright drop back quickly. Take away something he wants to see. They're going to have to run the ball a little bit more to make those play action fakes effective.
Tom Dixon will punt. And he gets a good one off. Into the end zone. Are they going to rule a single? Yes, they say it went out of bounds after it crossed the goal line. So the Ottawa Roughriders score first at Lansdowne Park. Well, clouds have moved in now, but a lovely night. 22 Celsius light wind. And we hope there won't be any rain. It doesn't look like it now. 1-0 Ottawa. The Tom Dixon single at 4:30 of the opening quarter. Saskatchewan with the football. First and 10 of their 35. Milson Jones, big hole. 19-yard gain to the Saskatchewan 54. Tyrone Pope, a rookie defensive back, brought him down.
A great acquisition for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the experience in the backfield in combination with McRae. Milton Jones gets the ball deep. Wants to hit a little bit to the left, but a good block by Roger Aldag, standing up the defensive lineman to the outside. Jones reads it and slashes up there.
Saskatchewan first and 10 at its 54. This is Jones again, and he pops through the right side for 3 or 4 more.
Milson Jones has been known for a laid-back attitude playing football. Very intense, but around practice time, taking it easy and do your job. But I guess since he's been in Saskatchewan, the leadership role has come out of him. John Gregory's real pleased to see it, too.
Vic Stevenson, the right tackle of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, injured. Well, Ottawa concerned about their defensive team. Neil, Fred Glick said the one big question area is the defense, which gave up 598 points last year, which is a staggering statistic. They have some new people. They think they have some better people. They'll start finding out tonight. Well, Milson Jones, quite an addition to that Saskatchewan offensive team. Tim McRae, after a sensational preseason, lines up with him at running back, and Burgess, the quarterback. Elgard and the rookie Fairholm, the slots. McDonald and Todd Brown, the wide receivers. Don Narcisse is injured, or he'd be in there. And there's the offensive line, which doesn't include Vic Stevenson for their 2nd down and 6. Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 52-yard line. Ottawa leading 1-0. Burgess has time, gets away, and he'll get a 1st down. Fumbles the ball. Saskatchewan got it back.
Good job of getting up the field. The one thing anyone has to protect against, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, when you do start to go downfield, if someone's chasing you, and of course you don't know unless you've got rear vision mirrors on, to keep that ball tucked under the chest and not let it swing back. As you see right here, a good tackler will go for the tackle and the other hand will go for the ball.
14-yard gain of the Ottawa 38. Tim McRae on 1st down goes nowhere. He's tackled by defensive end Mike Klein. What a move Burgess put on Will Lewis on that run. Lewis was in replacing Anthony Woodson. The Riders go to Lewis as a 6th defensive back in passing situations. He is their designated import, Will Lewis. And he's in again. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Ottawa 38-yard line. Burgess has Elgard wide open, and he catches it at the 10-yard line.
What a great catch coming over the middle. Good job on the concentration. Burgess throws it to the right spot just in time. Elgard has to tip it and bring it down, but then he not only catches the ball, he delivers one heck of a blow on a defensive back. Just leads him into that open area. Perfect pass. Now pop somebody when you get to the football.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 10.5. 7:40 left, 1st quarter. Ottawa leading 1-0. Burgess to McRae at the 5, tackled immediately by Troy Wilson. We'll mark it at the 5.5. That'll be a 5-yard gain.
As John Gregory was going into the preseason, he was thinking about going to an all-Canadian backfield because he has some very talented people. But Tim McRae, coming off a bad knee last year, just had such a tremendous training camp. He just had to keep him in the lineup.
Vic Stevenson has a slightly sprained ankle. Bill Henry's replacing him at right tackle. 2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. Burgess pass, complete, touchdown, David Conrad. Tom Burgess puts together a very impressive drive, and Saskatchewan goes ahead 6-1.
There was some question going into their first league game whether they should start Burgess or Kent Austin. Both had tremendous training camps. Gregory decided to go with Burgess because he felt he had a better, all-around, better feeling for the offense. He certainly took them down the field nicely, taking exactly what the defense was giving him.
7-play drive, 75 yards, and Ridgway adds the convert. And Saskatchewan goes ahead of Ottawa by 7-1. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. A half-yard touchdown pass from Tom Burgess has put Saskatchewan ahead of Ottawa 7-1 with 7:07 left in the opening quarter. Dave Ridgway to kick off for the Western Roughriders. Will Lewis, who returned to kick off 100 yards for a touchdown in the All-Star game. And Orville Lee are deep to receive, and it's Will Lewis at the 28. Well, he thought about bringing it wide, had that cut off, and gets it back up to the 44-yard line of Ottawa.
Tom Burgess talking with the coaches, cool and calm in that drive. When he was with the Ottawa Roughriders, his folks from Newark, New York, used to come up all the time for every home game, drive up and watch their son play, and I think they're here tonight. And he certainly impressed them and a lot of other people. It was a good drive.
He was acquired from Ottawa for Joe Pow. 1st and 10 for Art Schleister and the Ottawa Roughriders at the Ottawa 44. Schleister again under pressure, and he'll lose a couple. Jurison and James Currier on the stop. Rick Clausen, pardon me.
Plays coming in from the sidelines. You see head coach Fred Glick giving Art Schleister a signal. Now, that doesn't mean run an 11, but what it does is telling him to choose one of the plays from a certain grouping.
Glick said they call about 75% of the plays, but Schleister can overrule. And he gives to Orville Lee on a draw play. Lee gets away from one man, and that'll be it. Eddie Lowe grabs him behind the line of scrimmage, and he had help. And Lee will lose another 2 or 3 yards. So the Ottawa Roughriders, after getting a couple of first downs in their first series, have stalled in 2 possessions in a row.
You see the stunt up front between Lewis and Rick Clausen. Just cross paths. Sometimes that can mix up an offensive set. If they're not ready for it, they're going to have to do a better job. The offensive line of Ottawa gives Schleister a little bit more time.
3rd down and 15. Ottawa from the Ottawa 39. Tom Dixon to punt. And he gets another good kick away. Joe Fuller at the 20. And he gets it back to the 30-yard line. Mark Torf, the linebacker, made the tackle. 5 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter at Lansdowne Park. Saskatchewan and Ottawa starting their 1988 CFL regular season on CFN against one another. And the Western Riders have the ball after a 51-yard Tom Dixon punt at their 30-yard line. Milton Jones with a handoff. And he has 7 or 8 yards through the middle. Hassan Arbubakar made the tackle. And he is joined on the 3-man defensive line by Michel Bourgeois and Mike Klein. The 4 linebacker unit has Daryl Patterson, acquired from Winnipeg, and Gabe De La Garza, along with Mark Korf and Anthony Woodson. We see Patrick Wayne in there as well. Kyle Hall, the safety, Brown and Williams, the returning corners, and Troy Wilson and rookie Tyrone Pope, the defensive halfbacks. 2nd down and 3, Saskatchewan at their 38. Milton Jones, and he's hit in the backfield. Tommy Williams, the defensive corner, moved up to make the initial contact and slow Jones down, and he stopped 1.5 yards short of the 1st down.
The Ottawa defense did a good job of trying to stop Milton Jones deep. He makes a nice little shuffle move to get away from Woodson, but then is driven by Mark Korf, newcomer outside linebacker.
Well, it's 3rd down and just over 1 yard. And John Gregory is not going to take any chances at this stage, leading 7-1 and 4.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. He sends out Terry Baker. The ball at the Saskatchewan 39. And Baker gets a poor kick away. It was partially blocked, I believe, and it goes out of bounds around center field. They mark it at the Ottawa 49-yard line.
Well, you work hard on your special teams. You usually every day in practice will spend a certain amount of time, just like you do in offensive defense. The head coach and the assistant coaches will get the players aside and run through assignments and responsibilities, because nothing can turn a game around more quickly than a miscue on a punt return or a punt team and a block ensuing.
Could you tell what John Gregory was thinking on that shot?
Yeah, we're going to have to work more on our punt team next week.
Ottawa 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 49. Schleister going long for Alphen, who has it after pushing off. They mark him out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Gerald Alphen pushed off the defensive back and came up with a football. That's Greg Lathan, not Gerald Alphen, the newcomer.
Simply once again running the fullback into the flat, the inside receiver right in front of Lathan there, going to the sideline in that little elbow to get the cornerback off him. He was not caught. And here's a nice chance to see Art Schleister set up. No, he's not rushed. He gets time to throw the football to sort of back into that one. Well-thrown ball.
1st and 10 Ottawa, Saskatchewan 22. Greg Lathan with the football. Schleister fakes left, rolls right, throws for Lathan. Touchdown!
It feels awfully good the first time they get a chance. Misdirection, Orville Lee fakes left. They pull an offensive lineman around. Again, lots of time, and a perfectly thrown ball over the outside shoulder, close to the sideline, so it couldn't be intercepted. Great catch by Lathan. Outstanding throw by Schleister.
Fleester and the Ottawa offense were stalled the last couple of times. They had the football, but they marched it crisply downfield there, and the convert by Tom Dixon puts Ottawa in front 8-7 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Fred Glick is happy to see the character materialize right here. His offense responded when they hadn't played well, led by this man, number 10, Art Fleester. Lathan runs inside, gets the defensive back, going to the post, then comes back around behind. Beats Skipper to the sidelines in the end zone.
2 plays covered 61 yards, both passes to Greg Lathan, a 23-year-old rookie from the University of Cincinnati. Big, rangy wide receiver at 6'1", 200, Neil.
The one thing, Fred Glick likes a number of things about him, or he wouldn't be a starting wide receiver, but one of the things he really likes is that after he catches the ball, his ability to separate and run away from people. He has great quickness and speed.
Joe Fuller from the Saskatchewan 12. Cut down nicely at the 29-yard line by Larry Moore. Good special teams work by Moore, a backup running back with Ottawa.
You can almost feel the momentum up in the booth here. The fans really, it's good to see them get excited about something that's happening on the field. It's been a long time, I think, since they've seen that wide-open style of offense and executed that well.
Well, you know, and so much has been said and written about Fleester since they signed him. And, of course, his story is an intriguing one anyway, as I said earlier. And to see him perform like that, boy, people get excited. And that one was nearly picked off by Rod Brown. And he'd have been in the end zone.
Rod Brown from Oklahoma State, good size for a cornerback, 6'1", 188 pounds, breaks on the ball nicely. It looks, and I'm sure it does to Burgess too, that the receiver's open, but he breaks on the football, comes underneath the receiver, breaks it up nicely, and as you said, another half a step, he catches that one, and he's in the end zone.
Pass was a little bit behind Ray McDonald, and it nearly cost Saskatchewan 6 points. The Western Riders, 2nd and 10 at their 29. Burgess throws, no good. Todd Brown, the intended receiver, but it was way behind him. And the Ottawa defense obviously fired up by that impressive touchdown their offense just scored.
Mike Klein starting at the defensive end. He will loop around from the nose. See the Boudreau go inside, take up the space, and take up 2 or 3 offensive linemen. They can't peel back and block him. He's in Burgess's face just as he releases the ball.
Terry Baker on 3rd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 29 to punt. What wind there is, and there isn't much, is in Baker's face. And he hits another poor kick. And I don't know where they'll mark that one out, but that's 2 bad kicks in a row by Terry Baker.
A young kicker sometimes can get rattled. It's Baker's only his 2nd year. Last time it was blocked, he's got to be peeking up and wondering. But he steps to his right. He wants to kick the ball out of bounds right. Sometimes when you do that, you'll drop the ball a little bit outside the right foot. The foot comes through and just gets half the ball. What happens is you get a shank off to the right.
An 11-yard punt by Baker, and Ottawa has the football at the Saskatchewan 40. Ottawa leads 8-7. 2:20 left, first quarter. Fleester has a man open, and it's almost picked off. He had a man open, I should say, momentarily, and was fortunate that it was not intercepted.
Gerald Alphin was sitting right around the 5-yard line. He had run another corner. Fleester, after being forced out of the pocket, sees him, and the ball just got there a little bit too late. In a situation like that, the defensive backs do get a break. Richie Hall and Harry Skipper, the inside halfback in the corner, because they get a chance to respond to the ball.
Harry Skipper nearly picking that off. 2nd and 10 Ottawa from its 40. Orvally on the toss. And he makes a nice move and gets close to a first down. There you see the talent that this young man possesses.
Well, we're seeing some of the things that they were talking about in training camp. Orvally turns a pitch what you think is going outside, back inside. Jerson, the end, will step outside, try to contain. Now watch this block. Drive him back. Now the cut. Back inside. Jerson hasn't got a chance because Lee reads what's going on, finds his own hole, and then powers upfield for 3 or 4 more.
Irv Damon dragging his left arm behind him and just tugging at the sweater of Jerson a little bit and getting away with it.
Kind of a brush block with the arm.
Yeah, you could call it that.
It's never holding until you get caught.
That's right. They measure. It's first down Ottawa.
Robert.
At the Saskatchewan 30-yard line. 1:45 left, first quarter. 8-7 Ottawa. Good entertaining first quarter. Schleister to Orville, dances away from the first man, but won't get away from linebacker Dave Albright and Steve Crane to help out.
David Albright coming off an outstanding year last year. A lot of the tackles that happened on the defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders were made by that man right there, number 39. And their defense last year played awfully well. Still intact, still fairly veteran, too.
Albright had 118 tackles last year to lead the CFL. 2nd and 8 Ottawa from the Saskatchewan 28. Schleister puts it up. No good down near the goal line. Intended for Orville. Well covered.
Ottawa starts to get close to the goal line. Saskatchewan brings a bit of a different look on defense. They blitz that time. Joe Fuller nicely picked up by running back Jim Reed. They're going to try to mix things up, make the offense make a mistake.
You know, there's the applause again for Schleister in the offense. We talk about players having their careers resurrected, and we've talked a lot about Schleister. Tom Dixon getting a new life here in Ottawa after the departure of Dean Dorsey. He will try a 37-yard field goal, and it's good. And with 40 seconds left in the first quarter, Ottawa goes in front 11-7.
Tom Dixon's career started with the Eskimos, had a good season, and then kind of let himself go. Realized a year later that he wanted to play professional football, realized he had to take another route, lost 15 or 20 pounds, wanted to become a professional player, a football player, and stay there. He's got a job in the city now working as an assistant manager with a Burger King. Looks like he's on track, too.
Saskatchewan will take the football at their 35-yard line rather than have Ottawa kick off after the field goal. Burgess wants to put it up and does. Complete up at the 51-yard line. Nice throw to Ray McDonald. And that'll be a Saskatchewan first down.
When we were talking to John Gregory this morning, he was talking about how important maturity is to his football team. That when he started the season last year, he had 13 rookies on his team starting. This year, when they had a meeting before the season started, he asked the rookies to put up their hand, and there was only one, and that's, of course, Jeff Fairholm. They feel a lot more confident with the personnel that they've got this year.
Last play of the first quarter, barring penalty, and a handoff on the right side goes to Denny Ferdinand. 15 minutes are completed. Lansdowne Park and Ottawa leads by 4. And at the rate they're going, I wouldn't rule that out. Second quarter opens with Tom Burgess trying to hit Tim McCray on 2nd and 6. But McCray is well covered, and the Western Roughriders will have to punt.
Good job on the Ottawa defensive line and by the halfbacks. Come through quickly, led by Michel Bourgeot, and the halfbacks took the running backs away. Really no place for them to go.
Will Lewis and Orville Lee dropping back, and Terry Baker, his last 2 kicks have been disastrous. We'll hope for better fortune on this 3rd and 6 punt from the Ottawa 54-yard line. And Baker hammers this one. Will Lewis, 10 yards in, is going to bring it out to the 11-yard line. I don't know if Fred Glick will like that. He saved them a point, but cost them some field position.
Oh, the way their offense has been rolling, I don't think you mind too much just to have to go that much further now for a touchdown. And I know the defense would like to see them drive the whole field so they can get a break and sit down for a while.
Terry Baker will pump that average back up. That was a 64-yard punt. Schleister off to an impressive beginning in his CFL debut. Faces a 1st and 10 now at the Ottawa 11. Second quarter just underway. Schleister over the middle, intended for Jim Reed up near the 30, but he led him way too far, and Reed couldn't get to the ball.
Nicely designed play. Schleister's trying to get the flow to go to the sidelines. Reed comes straight upfield to inside the linebacker. Good play by safety Glenn Suter to come over and take that area away very quickly.
11-7 for the Ottawa Roughriders, who are 2nd and 10 at their 11-yard line. Schleister again for Jim Reed, but way over his head. I think by design, as Reed was well covered, and Schleister got rid of the ball to save the loss.
A smart move. Rather than trying to jam it in there and make a reception, get it out of bounds. Another stunt. You see Bob Jurison go to the inside. Clausen to the outside. And you see how he takes two people. He takes people away from the blocking scheme. The sack was made by Clausen. They're doing a nice job of stunting up front.
What a player Jurison is. He's only 23 years old.
That is scary, isn't it?
3rd and 10. Ottawa from its 11. Dixon's punt is a good one. And it's returned to the 48-yard line by Richie Hall, the former Calgary Stampeder. One of the veteran players the Riders added in the offseason that they feel will give them some extra leadership.
And I think it'll help, especially in the secondary and all over. You acquire Clausen, who's been to a Grey Cup. He flashes that Grey Cup ring around a bit. Milson Jones coming off a great victory in the Grey Cup last year in a super game.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 27. First down.
He will flash his ring a bit. That does something to players. They always say, hey, we want to get one of those. We want to get to that game. That kind of leadership is very silent, but it works.
Ross Perrier marches off 10 yards against Saskatchewan for holding on the return. So the Western Roughriders will be 1st and 10 at their 46. They trail 11-7. We're very early in the second quarter. Burgess gets it away to Conrad. And he's up near center field for a gain of 8 yards. Nice job by Burgess under pressure to pick up an open man.
I think we're seeing a bit of influence from Steve Goldman, who is now, as I mentioned earlier, the offensive coordinator. He's a stickler for execution, and he doesn't want his quarterback throwing and forcing the ball downfield. David Conrad is open to the flat. Take the 7 or 8 yards. Don't take an interception.
Well, John Gregory is ecstatic to have Steve Goldman on his staff. Goldman with the Edmonton Eskimos last year. 2nd down and 2.5. Saskatchewan. Denny Ferdinand has the 1st down and then some to the Ottawa 47-yard line.
That's one of the reasons right there, Denny Ferdinand, that this man, John Gregory, was thinking of going to an all-Canadian backfield. Milson Jones at fullback, Denny Ferdinand at halfback. You watch the quickness here. Good block by Mike Anderson, the center, pulling out. He reads that block and then cuts back, pops a couple people, makes a nice 1st down.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan, Ottawa 46. Burgess has some room, and he slides down to the 40-yard line. He'll gain 6. As both offenses continue to perform very well.
Straight back. When Burgess drops back with his heels going towards the goal line, he gets a better opportunity to see what is materializing downfield. Gets the 1st and then slide, or close to 1st and slides. But it always scares me when I see a quarterback go down on his fanny and slide feet first.
Are you afraid he's going to get hooked in the turf or something?
That and a guy coming in with a helmet and hitting him in the hip area where there's no protection. At least you've got a helmet and shoulder pads on, as we're looking at rookie Mark Corp, outside linebacker, who's been a real treat for the Ottawa Roughriders, a real pursuer, a wild man. Seems pretty simple. All of a sudden pulls up with a cramp.
Yeah, he certainly wasn't injured on the play in terms of running into anybody or twisting his leg.
Mark Korf played during the strike in the NFL last year with the 49ers, and the Ottawa Roughriders got a hold of him. And the player, I mean, he's just runs all over the field. He's a wild man, chases people down, and one of the players described him as like a dog chasing leaves in the backyard on a windy day. Never gets tired, just keeps going.
Jim Reed, who has to block him in practice quite often, and I guess Corp, he doesn't know the meaning of ever letting up, even in a practice. And he was banging Reed around one day, and Reed went over to Fred Glick and said, does this guy realize we have to play 18 games?
It's time to lighten up.
He'll never last. 2nd down and 4, Saskatchewan, Ottawa 40. Burgess will be sacked back at the 50 after stumbling and falling. Some bad luck for Tom Burgess, and it takes Saskatchewan out of field goal range.
Well, the turf monster jumped up quickly and grabbed Burgess's toe, and I'm not sure if he's better off. His play action, he's got Abu Bakar and Woodson right in his face. That might have been a pretty good play. He might not realize it now, but he'll look at the film tomorrow and say, well, I don't mind going down without being helped down by those two.
Seeing it again, he may have lost more had he continued to run because Woodson had the angle on him. 3rd down and 15. Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 51. Terry Baker to kick again. 11-7, Ottawa leads. Just about 4 minutes into the second quarter. Baker again trying to get the football out of bounds, which he did. "11 minutes, 8 seconds left in the second quarter. Ottawa leading Saskatchewan by 4 at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. Bob Irving and Neil Lumsden. Neil, our season openers, special games for the players?
I think so, because you finally get to hit someone and have it count. There's a certain amount of excitement and build up to it.
Ottawa with the football, 1st and 10 after a Saskatchewan punt. Schleister tries to dump it off to Hudson. That throws it low.
One of the few passes we've seen Schleister force into the ground. A little bit, forcing it a little bit too much, actually. Good yardage by both. Schleister only 3 of 8, but if you didn't see those statistics, you'd swear he had better statistics in the first quarter.
Well, he's 0 for his last 3. He did throw a 22-yard touchdown pass to Greg Lathan in the first quarter. 2nd and 10, Ottawa. From the Ottawa 15.5-yard line. Schleister for Hudson again. This time he finds him at the 20-yard line, but it'll only be a gain of 4 or 5. Mike Hudson with good coverage. Sorry, Neil.
I'm sorry, Bob. I just say Mike Hudson from Guelph University. Schleister probably, and it won't be a problem. It's something he's going to have to get used to. From the far side, throwing it out to the wide field is a long way. The field is no longer just 50 yards wide. 65 yards makes quite a difference when you want to throw an 8 or 9 yard out.
Tom Dixon a punt on 3rd down and 5. The ball at the Ottawa 20. Saskatchewan with a good rush, but Dixon gets another excellent punt off. Richie Hall at the 39. And he brings it back to the Saskatchewan 53-yard line. A 52-yard punt by Dixon and a 15-yard return by Hall. As Art Schleister places a phone call.
Probably to Pal Sartori, upstairs, the offensive coordinator. A little discussion.
Who is that mystery man, Mr. Lumsden, with the binoculars?
That's a concerned father. That's Larry Fairholm. Jeff Fairholm's dad. Ex-CFLer, great all-star when he played with Montreal. Quite a compliment for Jeff when he was in Regina, that they didn't think he was acted and played like a rookie in training camp. That's quite a compliment.
And Jeff Fairholm is on the sidelines. He had a terrific preseason. 2nd player taken overall in the draft this season out of Arizona. And the Roughriders expect him to play productively for many, many years.
Anthony Woodson having a bit of an ankle problem, receiving attention. You hope that's not serious, because he's just a tremendous outside linebacker, good size, great ability when it comes to running down, running back. They're not afraid to put him on any back in coverage. And looks like he's got a knee brace on his right leg and a little gimpy on the left ankle right now, but I hope it's not serious. We should say that Mr. Fairholm, Sr., Larry Fairholm, will be up joining us in the booth later on in the game.
And he was a good one. He played with Montreal from 65 to 72, played on a Grey Cup winner. He was an All-Canadian one year. Anthony Woodson, bothered by injuries last year off and on. He seemed to get nicked just about every time out.
Their defense was on the field an awful lot last year, so for good reason.
Yeah, surrendering almost 600 points, 598. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan Roughriders at their 52-yard line. Ottawa leading 11-7. Burgess sprints left. Good block by Milson Jones to get Burgess down the sidelines, and was he hit? Who? Tom Burgess was unloaded on and lived to tell about it.
Tommy Williams, who was taken deep in a pattern. Burgess gets away from Hassan Abubakar and now has Milson Jones out front. Jones throws a great block, gives Burgess the outside, but look out, there's something coming right about now. Whoa, look out.
Oh. 9:38 left in the second quarter. This CFN telecast is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Daryl Patterson calls defensive signals for Ottawa. He was shaken up on that last play, but he's okay. Although he'll rest for at least one play. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Ottawa 32. Ottawa leading 11-7. Burgess looking in the end zone, and he'll have it almost picked off by Kyle Hall in the end zone. And Hall should have had that one.
Kyle Hall playing center field. All he's doing is backing off when the ball snapped, and he's going to be looking at Tom Burgess. Burgess, a half a roll, has a nice pocket. Good blocking up front for him, lays it out. But Kyle Hall moves on the ball quickly and almost picks it off.
9 minutes, 10 seconds left in the second quarter at Lansdowne Park. Saskatchewan 2nd and 10 at the Ottawa 31. And it's a draw play that goes nowhere. Corf was in on the tackle along with Michel Bourgeot. And a holding penalty against Saskatchewan, which Ottawa will, well, maybe they will take it and move them back. We'll see. If they decline, it'll be 3rd down.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 66. 2nd down repeated.
Mike Anderson, the center, called for holding, and Ottawa wants the penalty. Move the ball back to the Ottawa 42-yard line. And if they can hold, they'll make Ridgway's field goal try that much more difficult. If they can't, well, then they will think twice about taking the penalty. Burgess throws complete down to the 21-yard line to Ellingson, but Burgess may have been across the line of scrimmage when he threw that ball.
Gregory has to like what he's seeing and the way Burgess is performing. Heads up, using his head all the time. Moving to the line of scrimmage and then keeping that ball in the right hand. Freezing the defensive back to stay on the receiver. And if they do come up as if he thinks he's going to run, drop it downfield. Smart quarterbacking.
Neil, that pass got them a 1st down to the Ottawa 21, but Burgess was across the line, as we'll hear. So they'll bring it back.
Illegal pass. Saskatchewan number 16. 2nd down repeated.
And now it'll be 2nd down and 25 for Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 52. John Gregory has just seen his team move back in 2 successive plays from the Ottawa 31 to the 51. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's 2nd down and 30.
You break the huddle, you look downfield, and you try to figure out where you've got to get to get a 1st down. You're going to have to use binoculars. I think a long haul to go to get a 1st down.
Wouldn't you think now they just like to get it maybe 10 yards down and give Ridgway a shot at a field goal?
I think that has to be part of their thinking, but also if you get down and you throw the ball underneath coverage, because the defense that Ottawa will be in will be to prevent them from getting that 30 yards. Let someone run for the 1st down. Break a tackle or two.
Fred Glick had an interesting game day afternoon.
Didn't he, though? After we met with him, he felt that all the work was done at the office, so spent some time with his wife, Marlene, and they played tennis.
During training camp in the preseason, the coaches get no time, really, to themselves. And on game day, all the preparation has been made, and you actually get a few hours to yourself with your family or whatever.
Maybe the only few hours a week you get right there.
I wonder who won. I don't suppose it matters. Well, we're finally going to get back underway again. Patrick Wayne into the game for Ottawa. Saskatchewan 2nd down and 30 at the Ottawa 51. Burgess to Conrad. And he's to the 44-yard line, a gain of 7 or 8. And if they choose, now they can send Ridgway out for a long field goal try, and that's what they'll do.
Fred Glick has to be happy what he sees in his defense, especially those linebackers, 2 young ones in Mark Corf and Gabe De La Garza. Dale Patterson and Anthony Woodson. At that time, it was Patrick Wayne, but they've been closing on the ball very well when it's been thrown underneath, not giving much of a chance to either a running back or an inside receiver to break a tackle.
Ridgway made 49 of 57 field goal tries last year. What a average that is. This 51-yard effort is good, just barely, but it's through there, and that cuts Ottawa's lead to 11-10.
Mr. Consistency, the other gentleman in the league last year, Dean Dorsey of this Ottawa Rough Rider club, was tremendous, but Dave Ridgway can't get much better.
Tonight at halftime, a profile of the man who has proven that size isn't everything in the CFL, Saskatchewan's Bobby Jurison.
I don't think size bothers anyone. Look at Eddie Lowe. Look at James Quick Parker. Look at Greg Stuman. Look at Vince Goldsmith. Size doesn't mean anything. It's how bad you want to play the game.
6:59, the time of that Ridgway 51-yard field goal. Ottawa 11, Saskatchewan 10. Rough Riders, Jim Reed, big hole. And he fumbles the ball, and then I think got it back at center field. Got Ottawa's version of the Argo bounce on that one.
Well, they let the big fella loose. That's scary when Jim Reed, 230 pounds, gets an opportunity to get some open field. Hits there nice and quick. Good block thrown downfield, and this is what the Argo bounce is to say. Boy, he's a tough man to stop. He gets going straight ahead. He gets that upper body lowered down like hitting a car.
Schleister on 1st and 10 throws. There's a flag down. Mark Lewis has the ball for a gain of 8 or 9. But there is a penalty flag, and it'll be holding against the Ottawa Rough Riders. What happens when a hole opens up like that? The linebackers are all gone. Are they taken out on pass coverage or what?
Ottawa number 73.
Sometimes you just flat out get lucky in a call in the huddle on a quick hitter. Different teams have different defensive sets. That was a first down defense. They might have left the gap, moved the linebackers outside because they were expecting something else. Teams study tendencies, what they do on 1st and 2nd down. Ottawa was right. Saskatchewan was wrong in that play.
Mike Hudson called for holding 1st and 20 Ottawa from the Ottawa 45. Draw play, Orville Lee. And the opening is closed quickly by Eddie Lowe. Lee gains about 3.
And Anthony Woodson with the shoe, sock off, and probably the tape cut off that he had put on before the game, getting closer examination of that left ankle. Bobby Jurison, there you see it, takes on the man. Now he's going to read. Often the responsibility of a rush end can play a little bit like a linebacker. Play your running back. Played the block off well and made the tackle.
2nd and 17 Ottawa at the Ottawa 48. Schleister is intercepted. And Joe Fuller has only Schleister to beat and can't. Schleister buys some time, and Orville Lee comes back to make the tackle. 6:09 left in the second quarter, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders come up with a big turnover.
The native from Milligan, Florida, Joe Fuller, relied on some experience and anticipation to pick off the ball thrown by Art Schleister.
Fuller with 5 interceptions last year, as you just saw, gets his first of the season and puts Saskatchewan in scoring territory. 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 27. Burgess has a man wide open. Fairholm, the rookie, has a touchdown. And was he ever wide open?
Larry Fairholm, Jeff's father, hoping that's the first of many to come in his successful CFL career. Tom Burgess gets great protection. Denny Ferdinand on the right side of your screen picks up the blitz, allows Burgess to turn back to the other side and find Fairholm dragging across the middle. Good execution from the offensive line in the back to give the quarterback time to find his receiver.
The convert by Ridgway. What a dream for a receiver to be that wide open, first of all, and then to turn around and see the end zone and nobody near you.
Well, your first reaction is there's got to be something wrong here. Somebody's got to be very close to me.
They're going to call a penalty. But they didn't. And Jeff Fairholm has a touchdown, and we see Todd Dillon heating up in the bullpen.
Burgess needs time to throw. Here you see the block. Denny Ferdinand, good block. Takes the man down. Burgess slides out, reading the pressure from the left. A little push by Mark Korf, but it wasn't enough. It's a strike, and it's for 7 points.
Well, Jeff Fairholm had an excellent college career at Arizona. He played in 3 bowl games there. He was also nominated for academic All-American honors in 1986. So he is a well-rounded young man at 22 years of age, scoring his first CFL touchdown. One would suspect the first of a number. Ridgway's kickoff to Will Lewis. And he stopped at the 34-yard line. David Conrad in on the stop, along with Glenn Suter. And Todd Dillon will come into the game.
Todd Dillon has had a great camp. It's very tough to choose between Schleister and Dillon. He's improved greatly from last year, not so much ability-wise, but confidence.
And you can feel some restlessness in the crowd here. The fans maybe think Schleister should have stayed in there. Schleister had gone cold, though. Jim Reed carrying on first down and getting nowhere. Stopped for no gain.
Fred Glick mentioned yesterday he wanted to get both quarterbacks in the game. Maybe thought it was time for Schleister to sit on the sidelines and take a look. You can often get a different perspective of a game when you come out, watch what's going on from the sidelines. And you certainly don't lose a lot with this man in the game.
Well, Todd Dillon was the man who so much was expected of last year. This year he's kind of been pushed into the background by Schleister. Gets his first opportunity and he's in trouble. Gets the ball away, but away over the head of Mark Lewis. And the Ottawa Roughriders will have to punt. Saskatchewan in front, 17-11, with 4:50 left in the second quarter.
Well, if Tom Dixon keeps pounding the ball the way he did, Fred Glick can count on not great field position for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
What do you think? Would you have taken Schleister out?
I don't know, unless he got a little bit nicked or bumped when he made the tackle on the interception and, you know, seeing a few stars. That could be the reason.
Dixon kicking on 3rd down and 10. And it's another good one. Richie Hall can't catch it inbounds, and they'll mark it out at the 41-yard line of Saskatchewan.
Great acquisition for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The man they call Pint, he played most of his career with the Calgary Stampeders. Not very big, 5'6", 160 pounds of Colorado State, but he gets the job done, doesn't he?
Has to weigh more than 160. I don't think he's any taller than 5'6", but I know it says he's 160, but I can't believe he could play the way he does at 160. Then again, maybe he can. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan from their 41. Burgess goes long, and it'll be almost intercepted by Tommy Williams.
Williams with good coverage to the inside. Burgess didn't get quite enough on that ball to get it to the outside, close to the sideline.
Pass intended for Tim Pierce, but Williams had the better shot at it.
Well, a lot of people say the reason that what happens to receivers that can't catch the ball that have great speed, well, they become defensive backs.
Fred Glick never shows emotion. Always very steady on those sidelines. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan from their 41, and sacked is Burgess by Hassan Abubakar.
Fred Glick pleased the way Abubakar's been played. In the past, he's been known to come hard sometimes and not hard the others, but since he's been to Ottawa, they've been more than impressed. Good outside rush, beats his man, and then closes quickly, slants down into the quarterback before Burgess can get upfield.
Too many men on the field. Ottawa.
Oh, what a costly penalty that could turn out to be. It's costly already because it'll give Saskatchewan a 1st down at the Saskatchewan 51-yard line. I said Fred Glick doesn't show much emotion, but you can clearly see that he is perturbed, to put it mildly. So instead of getting the ball back, Ottawa will stay on defense with 3.5 minutes left, second quarter, and Saskatchewan ahead 17-11. Draw play, Milton Jones. Flag on the play as Jones picks up 12. And Saskatchewan is called for holding, so the ball will come back.
A play that looked like it was executed to perfection. The offensive line splitting the defense. Maybe now we know why the hole was so big. John Gregory sees it. Doesn't want to hear it, though.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 66.
There are no people in the world who can look more vexed than coaches of football teams when they have big plays wiped out by penalties.
Well, it is tough, and Mike Anderson had Michel Bourgeot to the outside. A good push probably would have taken care of it, but he doesn't know where the ball carrier is. He's going to hang on and do what he has to do.
First and 20, Burgess over the middle, and it's thrown behind the rookie Jeff Fairholm. We have 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in the second quarter, and Saskatchewan has recovered from an 11-7 deficit at the end of the first quarter to go in front of Ottawa 17-11. Tom Burgess has gone all the way at quarterback for Saskatchewan.
The veteran quarterback of the three, Kent Austin, Jeff Bentrim, and Tom Burgess, and it's tough to call him a veteran when he's only 24 years old.
Burgess 24, Austin 25. That's a position you don't want too much youth at, but they have the young quarterbacks in Saskatchewan. Burgess throws over the head of Todd Brown, and there's another flag on the play. That was a 2nd and 20 from the Saskatchewan 41. 2 minutes, 49 seconds left in the first half. We'll come back and tell you about the penalty. 17-11, Saskatchewan leads Ottawa. Tom Burgess has thrown a couple of touchdown strikes to Conrad and Fairholm, and Arch Leister threw a touchdown pass, but also threw an interception that set up the second Saskatchewan touchdown. 2:49 remaining first half, and Terry Baker to kick on 3rd and 20. The ball at the Saskatchewan 41. And it's blocked by Rod Brown. And Troy Wilson may get into the end zone with it. Touchdown, Ottawa.
Terry Baker, nothing different on this punt except someone didn't block number 27. Rod Brown comes in, didn't even have to leave his feet and dive for it, just ran through the area where they designate the ball's going to come off his foot. They practice that and spend time, and that's perfect execution. And not a bad front roll either.
Troy Wilson capitalizing on the big play by Rod Brown, and Ottawa has tied the game at 17, and Tom Dixon has put Ottawa in front again, 18-17. So once again, that 34-all overtime tie that Bill Baker won. Well, we're about halfway there, aren't we?
We are. Left side right there, untouched, or if he was blocked, the man didn't stay on him long enough. The pressure from the inside will take the two up backs away. Their responsibility is to step up the inside pressure. That means someone has to be taken care of on the outside, and it wasn't on this occasion, as the Ottawa Roughriders receive a standing ovation.
Well, Saskatchewan has had trouble with that punting game tonight. Terry Baker has hit a couple of very short kicks, 111 yards, and that time has one block.
Wouldn't surprise me if John Gregory took Baker aside and the special teams coach and said, look, enough of this stepping to the right and left and punting. It takes too much time. Let's just get the guy back in the game and let him kick the ball, because they can't afford to let that happen again, and it takes time to catch the ball, turn a little bit to the sidelines to angle it out of bounds.
Special teams so very important and so damaging to Saskatchewan tonight. Dixon's kickoff. Fuller, and he's cut down at the 45, 46-yard line of Saskatchewan by Jerome Erdman.
Jerome Erdman, a valuable player to this football team. He backs up at safety, backs Kyle Hall up. He can also play receiver, slot back, outside receiver, probably running back too. And makes a great job on special teams. And then charts the plays. The guy's busy.
Chris Rick, a rookie linebacker, injured on that kickoff. We have 2 minutes and 29 seconds left in the first half at Lansdowne Park. 18-17 Ottawa. Two more teams yet to open their regular season, Toronto and Hamilton, and they will play tomorrow night at Ivor Wynne Stadium. And then everybody will have one game played.
Chris Rick, an outside linebacker, backs up either Mark Korf or Anthony Woodson. Valuable on the special teams, probably how he made the team. Most rookies coming into camp realize special teams is so important, because if you're not going to be a starter, you've got to make an impression. This young man obviously did, and hopefully it's not serious, that left knee that they're looking at.
You know, Neil, with Ottawa and Saskatchewan improved, certainly on paper, we have to see if that will show on the field. And some of the other teams having lost key players, you'd expect the league to be very competitive this season. As we look again at the block by Rod Brown.
And if you'd notice, when Terry Baker caught the ball, he was standing on the hash mark right in the middle. When the ball was kicked and blocked, he was outside the hash mark to the right side. So he is definitely stepping to one side or the other to direct the ball near the sideline.
Mm-hmm. I think we can expect to see them get away from that. As you say, just let Baker kick the football. To finish my thought, what do you make of the first two games of the year with BC waxing Winnipeg and last night Edmonton clobbering Calgary?
Well, I was surprised. We did the Vancouver game, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers looked to be and could have been as strong, and they probably will be, knowing Mike Riley and that organization, but didn't get off to on the right foot. I think a lot of it had to do with people not playing together long enough.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Burgess finds McCray. Nice move inside. Gets the first down, 13-14 yards, up to the Saskatchewan 50-yard line.
Tim McCray, I mentioned earlier, a sore knee last year, had to miss a few games, but has had an exceptional training camp. A great little move to the inside, and it looks like this defensive back, Rod Brown, has been beaten. But what Brown does is he doesn't let him go to the outside, pushes him in, gets help from the linebacker. Smart play.
1st and 10. Burgess throws, has McCray again on the flat. And this time he gets 8 or 9 down to the Ottawa 51-yard line. John Gregory, the head coach of Saskatchewan, said, we just couldn't keep Tim McCray out of uniform. We wanted to go with the Canadian backfield to give us some freedom to use an import elsewhere, but McCray just played too well in training camp in the preseason.
Saw Tom Burgess waving to the sidelines. What he wants is the horses, the elephants, whatever name they call them, the short yardage team to come in here and get that first down. 2nd and 1.
Good night for Burgess so far. 2nd and about 1.5 yards at the Ottawa 51. And Milson Jones will be close to the first down after looking to be in trouble.
Good effort by Milson Jones. A little bit of a stalemate on the offensive line and the defensive line. And Milson Jones and those quick feet that he acquired from playing a lot of soccer got him to the outside and found a gap and got upfield, and it might be just enough. Watch this. He just, little shuffle move right there. Good balance and gets upfield and takes on 2 or 3, 4 people.
That move took some ability. Milson Jones in his 7th year in the CFL. The last 4 of them with Edmonton. 2,096 rushing yards in his career. The measurement shows Saskatchewan inches short of a first down at the Ottawa 50 with 1:45 left in the first half, and Ottawa leading 18-17. Saskatchewan will go for it. And Burgess gets across the 50, and that's all he needs for the first down.
The result of a good surge by that Saskatchewan offensive line, getting people off the ball. Sometimes, you know, everyone thinks, well, there's a yard between offensive and defensive linemen. It's got to be easy. But when that defensive line comes off low, it's tougher for a blocker to get leverage. Good job that time, getting everyone upfield and giving them a place to go.
First and 10 at the Ottawa 50 for Saskatchewan. Burgess in big trouble, gets away for the moment and gets the ball off. As 3 Ottawa players hit him, they do not call grounding, and as you can hear, the crowd here doesn't like that.
It looked tough. Burgess dropped straight back. It almost looks like it's going to be a screen because number 18, Jeff Fairholm, picks up the blitz, but it's to that side, kind of destroys the rhythm because he had Ken Moore and Milson Jones out to the left. Aggressive defense broke that play down.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan, Ottawa 50. Burgess throws, and it's no good at the 30. Intended for McDonald. And I think the cornerback maybe just got a hand on the football.
Oh, I think you're right. Rod Brown, with great speed, moved in and was able to just get a hand on that ball before the catch was made. And if he hadn't, the receiver might have been able to get back up the sideline. Big play.
1:12 left first half. Terry Baker, who has had a very up and down evening with a couple of bad punts, 1 blocked, and also a couple of rockets. will kick on 3rd and 10. The football at the Ottawa 50. Will Lewis, the only man back. And Baker's kicking it straight upfield this time and gets a good punt away. Lewis a yard in the end zone, and he'll come out with it. And get to the 5-yard line with a minute and 1:01 left in the first half. A 50-yard punt by Terry Baker.
A very nice punt. Turn the ball over. Great hang time. As we watch Dillon ready to take over the offense on the 4-yard line. Tough to have your back against the wall. They've got to hold on to it because with this field position and a minute 1 left, they want to get themselves a first down, get out of trouble, not give the ball back.
Linebacker Chris Rick has a knee problem, a sore knee, we're told. They're examining it further. I don't know. Lewis conceding a single there would have tied the football game, but I think I'd have given up the point, Neil, with just over a minute left and taken the ball in the 35 and given my offense a little room to work.
By the looks of it right now, that would have been a great move.
Orville Lee carrying on first down, and he stopped for a 1-yard loss back to the 4. Now, Dillon, this is his second series, I think, since he took over from Schleister. And it's pretty tough to start from your 5-yard line. The clock is down to 42 seconds as Dillon takes lots of time and drops into the end zone. And throws intended for Hudson, no good up at the 20-yard line. So with 34 seconds left in the first half, Saskatchewan will get the football back and should have a chance to score. At least a field goal.
Well, that single point now, as you said a minute ago, looks awfully good as compared to what may happen now.
Well, Tom Dixon has punted very well all night. And he'll need to get a good one off here to keep Saskatchewan out of scoring range. Keep in mind Dave Ridgway is the field goal kicker for Saskatchewan, so anything inside the 55-yard line, essentially, you'd have to say he's got a pretty good shot at it based on his track record. In his career, Ridgway has made 72% of his field goals in his career.
That's outstanding.
197 out of 273. That really is remarkable.
You can bet the Ottawa Rough Rider punt team right now are making sure that everyone points their man out and everyone knows who you've got. They don't want to get one blocked. Jim Reed's taking control, something he doesn't like.
I don't think they have enough players out there.
Time count violation. Ottawa number 3.
They only had 11 players on the field. Now they have 12. That's what Jim Reed saw, and wisely told Dixon to let the 20-second clock expire.
Irv Damon coming out late, but better to come out late and get a chance to kick it than not make it out at all and get it blocked.
Dixon does not get a good one off. Fuller at the 30-yard line of Ottawa is where he's brought down with 27 seconds left in the first half.
Now, what do you do if you're Tom Burgess? You're on the 30-yard line. Do you put it in the end zone a couple of times and know that Ridgway's going to get to 3 points? Or do you work your way down closer so it's an easier field goal? What would you do?
I would take a couple of shots at getting it in the end zone, I think. 27 seconds, a lot of time with the clock stopping after each play. Let's see what Burgess comes up with. He wants to throw, and he puts it into the end zone, and it's over the head of the intended receiver, Tim Kearse, who just rejoined the Rough Riders about 8 days ago after being released by Indianapolis of the NFL. He requested his release and headed for Regina.
See a play coming in from the sidelines being carried by Todd Brown, wide receiver.
Brown advised the referee, Neil, I'm sorry, that he was coming in and Kearse was going out. Kearse is the designated import. He can go in and out at will as long as he replaces an import. 21 seconds left in the first half. 18-17 Ottawa. Burgess over the middle. Milton Jones is wide open, and he's to the 16-yard line of Ottawa with 15 seconds left.
I like that play. Get everyone dropping back. Good block thrown downfield by Jeff Fairholm to give Milton Jones a better chance. And that gives you a pretty good indication of the type of football player he is.
Clock down to 10 seconds. Burgess lofts it into the end zone, and it's over the head of Milson Jones. With 7 seconds left in the half, and John Gregory won't risk another play. He sends his field goal team out.
Asking both kickers before the game, kicking to this end of the field where there used to be some stands that are now gone. It's an open area, and you can almost see the street, Bank Street here in Ottawa. I'm wondering if the lights were going to affect them. They said no.
Glenn Suter holding. A 22-yard field goal attempt by Dave Ridgway is good. And Saskatchewan regains the lead, 20-18, with 4 seconds left in a very, very entertaining first half of football.
I think both coaches will have to be pleased by the way their players have responded. I'm sure there's always, no matter how well you play, there's questions of execution. I think Todd Dillon will face a defense right now where the defensive backs are a good 30 or 40 yards deep just after the ball snap. But Saskatchewan doesn't want to give up a big one here if, in fact, they decide to go for it, which they don't.
Todd Dillon takes the snap, uses up a second. They'll have to do that one more time in order to run out the clock.
That's not good news, seeing Anthony Woodson with crutches in one hand. Obviously, that left ankle is a problem.
These teams played 3 games last year. 2 of them were decided by 3 points and the other by 4, and it looks like it's going to be the same story in this game tonight. At halftime, Saskatchewan leads by 2. Foster's Lager and the Canadian Football Network are proud to bring you the best of the CFL.
Probably the most intense, the craziest, and maybe even the shortest that I've ever played with.
He is a little short. You know, he has sort of a complex problem with that because he spends most of the time looking up to the rest of the defensive linemen, not just because of our age and experience, but because of his stature.
That's for you, Wallaby.
Saskatchewan's Bobby Jurison certainly isn't the league's biggest defensive end. He's only 6 feet and...
Right now it says I am 262.
But he certainly is becoming one of the league's most respected athletes.
I don't think size bothers anyone. Look at Eddie Lowe. Look at James Quick Parker. Look at Greg Stuman. Look at Vince Goldsmith. Size doesn't mean anything. It's how bad you want to play the game.
The recognition came early. Last year in his first full CFL season, Jurison finished 2nd in league sacks with 22 and was selected a league all-star. This year, a brighter outlook, new team additions, and a year's worth of experience.
If you look at our season last year, we did a lot of things that were good, and also we did a lot of things that were bad. There was a lot of rookies playing. We had a rookie coach, rookie GM. You know, everything was new. It was a new system for the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen. The defense kind of stayed the same, but it was a new system for our offense, and it takes a while to get used to. Now, looking at the season of 1988, we had a good training camp. We found out that the 3 quarterbacks we have can play. We already knew that last year, but now we know they can do it. And we have a few more additions to the defensive line with Klassen and Goldsmith. Well, if you look at the people we have on paper, we're one of the best. Now we have to just get out on the field and prove that we're going to be the best defensive line. I think we have a lot of work to do before our first game. I think we'll have to work hard during the whole season to work together as a unit. But I think once we get our act together, I think we can be one of the better defensive lines in the league.
There have been a few comparisons. Bobby Jurison and his general manager, Bill Baker, both extremely familiar with looking down at quarterbacks.
He's a guy of great talent. He plays sort of in the glory spot, the rush end side of the team. I hope Bobby has another great year.
Well, with Bill Baker, when he played, I don't even think I was born yet, but no, a lot of people have told me about Bill Baker, the Undertaker, and I've heard a lot of stories about him on how he used to punish the quarterbacks and this and that, but he played back then, and now I'm playing now. So it's different, but it hasn't changed. In a way, you kind of like to do things like Bill does. You like to hit the quarterback, and when you hit him, you want to make it count.
The CFL has its collection of gymnastics specialists and dance instructors. Bobby Jurison's contribution comes by way of fashion.
It's just like your basic handkerchief, all right? It's like this, all right? Then you got to fold it in half. There's my sight down there, right there. So you take your hat off, you got to slap it on. Usually I get my hair wet before I do it. Right. Twist it in back. Tie a knot. Fix the edges. Check Check if you got it where you want it. And there you have it.
The fashion statement aside, Jurison's very serious about something that hasn't happened to this team since 1976, the playoffs.
I think we have a hell of a chance to make it this year. Ottawa will tell the tale on how we're going and where we're headed. The next 2 games after that, if we get off to a quick start, get into a good groove, we'll be there.
A man of many talents, Bobby Jurison of Saskatchewan. We're at halftime at Lansdowne Park, and Saskatchewan leads by 2. A Dave Ridgway field goal with 4 seconds left in the first half has given Saskatchewan a 2-point lead in the Battle of the Roughriders at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa.
I'm Marv Alamang of the Ottawa Roughriders. 1988 marks the 76th season of the CFL, but the end of some great careers in this league. Tonight on the Petro-Canada Hit Parade, we salute some of the CFL's finest players who retired before the season started. Here's Simple Minds.
Well, it would be hard to forget what Greg Marshall and all those great players have meant to Canadian football at Lansdowne Park, Saskatchewan, leading Ottawa by 2 at halftime. And the second half is underway. Will Lewis with the kickoff, and he'll put Ottawa in good field position at the 46-yard line of the Eastern Roughriders.
Interesting how a lot of teams, as we watch Art Schleitzer come back at the head and lead the offense of the Ottawa Roughriders. I was going to say a lot of teams in the CFL seem to be designating a specialist. Will Lewis in Ottawa. And it's all been started by the Gizmo Williams, very talented guy in Edmonton.
Well, Todd Dillon didn't really get much opportunity to get anything going. I think he only had 2 series after replacing Schleister. Fred Glick comes back with Schleister in the third quarter. And he'll start from his 46.5. Orville Lee with a toss. And he finds some pretty good room out that left side. One of the things that Orville Lee has, Neil, that Fred Glick was saying before the game, that you either have or you don't, and that's good vision. You wouldn't know all about that.
Certainly, you're going to approach the line. You have to see what's going on. Not only what the defense is doing, but where a guy like Benjamin is making his block downfield. You can't assume what's going to happen, but you have to be able to see the blockers picking their people up and imagine where you're going to go, and he does have that ability.
2nd and 3, Ottawa from the 53. Here's Orville Lee, and he's tripped up by Bobby Jurison and Rick Clausen as he had a big opening on that left side. One more step, and Lee is down those sidelines.
Well, the play started to the right. He comes back left. Good block by Benjamin right there. But a couple of vets right there understood what was happening, didn't go with the flow to the other side, and cut through the gaps. Could have been a big play for him if they hadn't tripped him up.
It was Jurison who got a hand on Orville Lee and stops him 1.5 yards, almost 2 yards short of a first down at center field. Jurison has had an excellent football game. Tom Dixon to punt. And it's fielded at the 12-yard line by Richie Hall, who brings it back across the 20 up close to the 25 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's a beautiful night in the nation's capital. 21 Celsius at game time. Very light wind. Really no factor at all.
Well, the temperature's perfect. If it had been too hot during the day, it would still be warm down on the turf, but it's quite comfortable now to play football.
But is it a perfect night for football?
I don't know if there is a perfect night.
Tom Burgess hasn't been perfect, but he's been good. He hands off to Milson Jones. And Jones, who's also been very good, gets 6 yards across the 30 to the 31 of Saskatchewan.
Again, Milson Jones showing his ability to hit up into an area that has been closed down and slide laterally one way or the other to find that spot, then accelerate upfield. Nice run for 6 or 7 yards.
2nd down and 4, Saskatchewan at the Saskatchewan 31. And it's a draw play that gets clogged up, but Milson Jones somehow gets through it all and has a good gain out to the 48 or 49 of Saskatchewan.
When the play started, it almost looked like Milson Jones wasn't going to go anywhere. A very quick handoff on the draw. But watch him when he breaks through, hesitate, Ken Moore will cut across him right here. There you go. Read your block. Off that block and keep going outside, and then north and south. The fastest way to get upfield. Punish some people while you're doing it.
Well, Brian Illerbrun was in Milton Jones' way when he started that run, but he was able to move him and get upfield for a very good game.
The battle of the backs. Wilson Jones has a lead right now. Not as many carries, but more yards.
Now we got some terrible news on Anthony Woodson. He has torn an Achilles tendon. And they don't get much worse than that. That's Tyrone Pope, the rookie defensive back.
Good look right there. He gets hit from behind. He makes the hit on Milson Jones and slides off. And number 84, Todd Brown, comes inside, unintentionally, of course, just trying to get there and knock someone down. Took a shot from behind. But that bad news about Woodson is tough, because he's a good one.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. From there, 49, Tim McRae on a toss. Breaks one tackle, gets 2 or 3 off the left side before he's grabbed by Gabe De La Garza, who is from Monterrey, Mexico.
Slowly learning the system. Fred Glick says he's still playing a little bit tight. And you wonder why he might play tight, because he hasn't got a full understanding as you see him pop Milton Jones right in the chest. But the more he understands the defense, the more comfortable he'll be, the more he'll be able to open up and really start to blasting people like he did in training camp.
2nd and 7, Saskatchewan at its own 52. Burgess goes long over the middle for Fairholm, and it's intercepted. Trying to see the number of the player who caught the football. That was Troy Wilson picking it off for the Ottawa Roughriders. 3.5 minutes into the second half.
The graduate of Notre Dame had his first touchdown tonight, and now his first interception. Good jump playing center field. Comes over top. The ball's just a little bit overthrown. He's right there. Good defense.
Pass intended for rookie Jeff Fairholm, who has a touchdown in his first CFL game. And Troy Wilson has his first CFL interception. Art Schleister with a 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 32. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa 20-18. And Schleister drops the ball. Are they really going to fumble? Yes, and Saskatchewan has the ball. James Curry comes up with it.
Lots of pressure. They've seen it all night, not on an ongoing basis. But this time, a little bootleg. You see him put it on his hip. He pulls down. Arm looks like it's starting to go forward, but never really got the momentum. They're all over his shoulders. Good defensive play when somebody's got him by the waist. Someone go up top to go after that football. Schleister didn't have a chance. They're going to have to do a better job of keeping that front four of Saskatchewan off his back.
I have to give Vince Goldsmith credit for that. He's the one who forced the ball loose. Curry recovers. And then an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Nick Benjamin, who threw the football. He threw the football at James Curry after Curry handed it off to him. And that moves the ball down to the Ottawa 21-yard line. Saskatchewan 1st and 10. Quick pass all alone is Tim McRae, and he has a touchdown.
Communication so important between a quarterback and receivers, and I've said it a couple of times, but you're going to see why here. Drops back. Here comes a safety blitz. Jerome Erdman up the middle. If he's coming, no one's in the middle. McRae knows it, goes outside, and then comes back into where the area is open. It's a short enough pass so there's no time for any help from another halfback. He's into the end zone.
Dave Ridgway will attempt to convert and make it. And Saskatchewan has increased its lead to 8 points. That's the biggest lead of the football game.
I think we're seeing some of Steve Goldman's influence right here. If they give you something on defense, they want to blitz, great. They think they can hurt us on the blitz, we'll hurt them when they bring somebody. Takes a bit of a shot, but he knows right now.
So Saskatchewan capitalizes very quickly on the Schleister fumble, which was recovered by James Curry. The penalty tacked on, and Tom Burgess, who's had an excellent night, finds Tim McRae for what appeared to be an easy touchdown.
Well, they're never that easy.
They look easy, but the players would never, ever say anything was easy.
No, what it turned out being is a great read as Todd Dillon looks on and wants to probably either get an opportunity to have Schleister do exactly the same thing to the Saskatchewan defense.
Will Lewis with a kickoff return to the 40-yard line of the Ottawa Roughriders. Well, we have some bloodlines at work here at Lansdowne Park tonight. Larry Fairholm played for the Montreal Alouettes back from 1965 to 72. And on a Grey Cup winner in 1970. You saw some footage there. His son is playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight. He has a touchdown. Larry, it couldn't get much better.
It's going pretty good. He's 1 for 1 right now.
How many people have you brought to this game?
Well, we have a little bit of family going here tonight. There's about 35 people from Montreal that came up, and we're very proud of Jeff and very happy to see him playing back in Canada.
They were happy to see you at the ticket office, obviously.
Well, it's a lot cheaper for me, you know. I used to go down to Arizona to see him play, and that was a little more expensive. So it's nice to come up from Montreal to see him play.
Larry, what are you involved in now?
Well, I own a couple of companies. We're primarily involved in the office facilities management, where we design and construct office buildings.
Going obviously very well, and I can see with this shirt that you must have time to play a little golf now and then.
Well, it's never as much as you want, Neil, as you can appreciate, but things are going very well, and I'm very happy to be here.
Larry, did you play a role in advising Jeff in terms of what he should do, because he had a chance to wait for the NFL draft?
Well, no, I really did not play a role. Jeff's a very mature individual. He selected the university of his choice, which was the university I went to, but he had his choice. He went there on his own and did very well. Academically, he's graduated from school, and he had a chance to be drafted. He was going to be drafted by Dallas, and he chose to come back to Canada, and he's very, very happy. He's been well treated by Saskatchewan, and he's very happy to be there.
Was football his sport from day one?
Yeah, I think so. Being a Canadian kid, he played a little hockey, but football, he's been banging his head for many, many years.
Larry, before he went into his first training camp here in Ottawa, did he take Dad aside and say, what should I expect?
He kind of knew. He knew he was going to hate training camp from day one. I told him that's when he was going to quit football after he really couldn't handle it, as you very well know, Neil. But no, he's, as I said earlier, he's very happy to be where he is, and I'm very proud of him.
Larry, thanks very much. You have a right to be proud. He's an outstanding young man from everything we hear.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Larry Fairholm, the father of Jeff Fairholm of Saskatchewan. Tom Dixon's punt rolling around and finally picked up by Richie Hall, and he gets it back out across the Saskatchewan 10. We have 8 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa by 9 points. On 3 touchdown passes, the third to Tim McRae in the third quarter. And that has given Saskatchewan a 27-18 lead, and the Riders take over the football after an Ottawa punt. Burgess falls, gets up. Will he get the ball away? Yes, he does. Completes it to Denny Ferdinand, and he's got a gain of close to 10 yards. How about that?
Well, there's bodies flying everywhere. He was grabbed earlier by the turf monster, and I didn't think that little guy could move around so quickly, but got him again on the 5-yard line. But what a great effort to, almost like a wrestler roll, get back up on his feet and see what's going on. I mean, right away, he's back up, looking downfield, knows what's happening, takes a pretty good shot, but completes it, gets the first down, or very close to it, a yard short.
And number 18, Jeff Fairholm of Saskatchewan, doing a good job of blocking on Mark Korf to give Burgess the time he needed. On second down and less than a yard for Saskatchewan, there are flags all over the field. Burgess keeping. Ottawa offside. That will give the Riders from the west the first down if they didn't have it on the play.
Kent Austin, the backup quarterback for tonight's game. Impressive in camp. Great arm. We saw him at the end of last year. Looked very good for the Riders. When Burgess had that sore shoulder and couldn't play, I'd say they're looking pretty strong. Young, but lots of ability at quarterback this year.
Well, you know, last year Saskatchewan's quarterbacks combined to throw 13 touchdown passes and 38 interceptions. A horrendous statistic for them. Much better tonight with Tom Burgess throwing, and that one was nearly picked off by Tom Williams.
Mark Korf, Florida State. The gentleman we talked about earlier that just runs and runs and runs. You see Aldag pulling out front. Little bit of a play action fake to Denny Ferdinand to hold the linebackers. Mark Korf had no part of it. Puts a little pressure on him. Takes him down rudely.
His head took a rap against the turf, Tom Burgess. But he looks to be all right. 2nd down and 10. Saskatchewan at the Saskatchewan 27. Burgess has a man wide open, David Conrad. And he's all the way to the Ottawa 44-yard line.
Well, this is where the Ottawa defense had to come up tight and hold Saskatchewan so they couldn't get the first down and throw it away. But here's all sorts of motion. Watch Conrad come across the top of the screen right there behind blitzing linebackers. There's no one in the area. Wayne came, De La Garza came, and now it's a foot race. That's a great play, perfect timing against that defense. Again, sometimes you have to be lucky. Sometimes you know it's coming up because of tendencies.
Neil, are we seeing, as Ray Elgard leaves the field, are we seeing the effects of the coaching of Steve Goldman, who is now the offensive coordinator?
I think we are. I'm sure we saw these or types of plays like this in the Saskatchewan offense last year, but it's a little bit different. There you go. Whoop. I guess I'm in a man defense. That little sitting tight for a second will set the linebacker at ease, and then you take off.
The ball at the Ottawa 44, 1st and 10. Saskatchewan. Denny Ferdinand with a carry. Gets only 2 or 3 off the left side. 6 minutes and 35 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa 27-18, and those gentlemen anxious to get back on the field. The Ottawa offensive line.
Quite a story right there. Marv Alamang, number 63, had serious knee surgery last year. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play, and they did a unique operation by replacing the ligament with a Gore-Tex ligament. Never been done in respect to having a player return. He's the first.
2nd down and 8. Draw play. Ferdinand has some room and has a first down to the Ottawa 32. Drops the ball, but they rule the play dead. And Tom Burgess continues to do a terrific job of picking that Ottawa defense apart.
The plays are coming in from the bench. John Gregory right there. They're seeing something from upstairs. Good job of blocking, and not a bad hand grip either. Denny Ferdinand. As I well know, the ground can't make you fumble, and it's a good thing.
Saskatchewan on the move. 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 31. Burgess drops the snap from center. Ottawa thinks they have it, and they do.
Michel Bourgeot, the nose tackle. In the midst of all that flutter and bodies, comes up with the football, pulling away from the center, or not a clean exchange between Mike Anderson and Tom Burgess, results in a first down on the Ottawa 31-yard line for the Ottawa Roughriders.
Boy, Saskatchewan had a chance to move in there and really take charge of this game. It's new life for Ottawa. Schleister on first down, and he puts it up long down the left side. No good. Intended for Lathan. Greg Lathan, who caught a touchdown pass in the 1st quarter.
Good look at Michel Bourgeot. Quite an athlete when he was in high school. He was on the Quebec provincial ski team. For a big guy, that's not, I'm sure he wasn't that big then, but shows what kind of athletes we've got playing the game these days.
He's a native of Montreal, went to Boise State. And he was a territorial exemption of Ottawa in '84 when they had such a thing in the CFL that no longer exists. 2nd and 10, Ottawa from the Ottawa 31. Schleister. And he wants to go long again, this time from Mark Lewis. Intercepted. No, Harry Skipper drops the ball. Harry Skipper's had 2 golden opportunities for interceptions tonight. Looked like he had that one. But never really got full control of it.
Great coverage by the veteran of South Carolina, Harry Skipper. take the inside away. The ball had to be thrown a little bit more to the outside. Good coverage. Tom Burgess has some discussions upstairs with could be Steve Goldman.
3rd and 10 Ottawa from the Ottawa 31. (27-18), Saskatchewan leading. And Tom Dixon, who's had a good night punting, gets another good one off. Richie Hall way back to his 24. And he gets it across the 30 and up near the 35-yard line, and that'll be it. We have 4 minutes and 25 seconds left in the 3rd quarter at Lansdowne Park. 25 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Tom Burgess, big night for Saskatchewan. 3 touchdown passes. Now Ottawa's quarterbacks, after Schleister got off to a good start in the 1st quarter, have really faded. Had a blocked punt for Ottawa. Helped them stay in the game. Blocked punt and a touchdown. Saskatchewan ahead by 9. And the Western Riders, after a Dixon punt, 1st down, but Burgess will not get this one off. He is sacked by Michel Bourgeau.
Once again, Bourgeau playing that nose guard. A minor altercation.
Ferdinand and Arbubakar got into it.
Well, maybe it's time that this Ottawa defense gets themselves going, and if it's a couple of shoves and punches is what it takes, so be it, because they're going to have to put some pressure and continue pressure like that on Tom Burgess, because he's just had too much time. He's really had his way. A little play action, drop back. Good job on moving his plays around in selection.
Burgess lost 8 yards. It's 2nd down and 18. Saskatchewan, the football's at their 27-yard line. And Burgess will not get this one off either. Corp led the tacklers in there.
Mark Corp, once again, he's been around the ball an awful lot tonight. One of the reasons they brought him in at that linebacker spot is a rush end. And here you go, pressure. Again, Michel Bourgeau. Relentless, coming through the blocks. They're starting to swarm, and that's what they have to do.
And Robert Weir, who's in for Mike Klein, also in on that action. Well, Saskatchewan is facing a 3rd down and 17 from their 28. Burgess actually gained a yard on that play. Baker will punt, or is ready to punt amid all sorts of confusion, and the Roughriders are called for a time-count violation, Neil, as they had players flying around from the bench, not sure whether they should be on or off the field.
Well, even with an average punt right here, the Roughriders will get, the Ottawa Roughriders will get good field position and an opportunity to move just 50 or 60 yards to increase their score.
Terry Baker gets a low kick away that bounces back toward the Saskatchewan end, and Baker tries to get to it, but it goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 16-yard punt by Baker's had 3 in that range, 3 punts, plus 1 block, so it's been a tough night for him. With the scores, Saskatchewan 27 and Ottawa 18. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. Opportunity for Ottawa after that bad kick by Baker on 1st down. Jim Reed has no gain.
That play was successful running it. They ran it once in the 2nd quarter. Reed popped it for 16 or 17, but the veteran Eddie Lowe on the outside linebacker spot says, "You'll fool me once, but not again," and he filled it right at the line of scrimmage.
Reed got a yard. It's 2nd and 9. Ottawa, Saskatchewan 37. Schleister completes down at the 18-yard line. Gerald Alphen, that was a super catch because he really got dinged.
Well, I was wondering when Gerald Alphen would get himself in this football game. You see the fake to Robert Reed peeling around. Schleister's got protection out front, and this pass is being thrown well ahead of Alphen. Alphen's coming across the middle of the field. Yep. Tremendous concentration. Knows he's going to get dumped, but knows he has to catch the ball.
And they have to get the ball to him, Neil, or their offense is not going to work. He's a big, big part of it. 1st and 10, Ottawa, Saskatchewan 18. Schleister steps away from the pressure, gets back close to the line of scrimmage, James Curry brought him down. Goldsmith had pressure.
The pressure came from Richie Hall, a half-back blitz to the Schleister's left side. Jim Reed picks up one, but he can't do it both. Schleister has to step up, and it's in the arms of the waiting James Curry.
That defensive front, Curry, Goldsmith, Clausen, Gary Lewis, and Jurison, they've been a load for Ottawa tonight. Second down and 10, Ottawa. Schleister got back to the line of scrimmage, the Saskatchewan 18-yard line. Schleister to the 5.
We're seeing what we saw in the first quarter. Art Schleister taking control of the offense. Again, a play-action roll, but he gets pressure. This time, there's no one coming up in the lanes in the middle, and a great job of picking his blockers out and getting himself upfield.
Robert Reed with the football on 1st and goal from the 5, and he finds nowhere to go. Well, a little help from the fans never hurt.
Never.
Seconds left in the third quarter. And Ottawa was 2nd and goal at the Saskatchewan 6. Joe Fuller made the play. Schleister couldn't get the ball off.
Tough Fuller blitzing from his halfback spot on the left side. Schleister steps up and looking to his right. Has no idea Fuller's coming. If he's not picked up, that's what happens. A bit of a gamble for Saskatchewan, but it paid off. They got aggressive down to their close near the goal line, and Ottawa stymied.
Lead shrinks to 6 points, 27-21.
The last drive, we finally saw Gerald Allison work into the offense. As you said, I think they have to see more of him. John Gregory was quite happy to have him quiet through 3 quarters, but he's an important part of that offense. And I think Schleister knows if the ball goes there, it's going to be caught.
Wednesday on the Canadian Football Network, these Ottawa Roughriders will go into Toronto to play the Argonauts, and we'll have it for you at 7 Eastern. Argos will open their regular season tomorrow night in Hamilton. So Fred Glick and company won't have a lot of time to get ready for that game, but then again, neither will the Argos.
No, but the Argos have got all sorts of depth coming off a tremendous year last year. They're going to be very tough.
Yes, they look very, very good on paper. Dixon kicking off. Fourth quarter just underway. Tim Kearse with the ball. And he's up to the 36 of Saskatchewan. They call Kearse 9 lives. He keeps resurfacing. He's been with Saskatchewan before a couple of times. He was with BC for a while. He's been around. Came back to the Saskatchewan Roughriders about 8 days ago. And he's the designated import tonight. Tom Burgess less than 50%, but he has had quite a night. So is Milton Jones, and he gets close to 4 on that first down carry.
Seeing the Ottawa defense beginning to settle down a bit. And it looks like Milton Jones has got that calf cramp pulling up that toe. Watch Michel Bourgeau on the nose tackle. He's going to work his way all the way outside and get a piece of Milton Jones. Oh, he's active. He's turning into a super nose guard.
He had injury problems last year. They hope he can stay healthy. Neil, why are we seeing so many cramps in the CFL these days? Any reason you can think of?
I don't know if I can answer that. Usually it happens in the hot weather. You see it a lot of times at BC Place because it gets quite warm. But tonight's quite a cool night. Very comfortable. Oftentimes maybe it's a movement on the turf because there's more grip. Maybe it puts more pressure on that calf muscle. Something to ask the doctor next week.
The man who worked with John Gregory in the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dan Daniel, new to the staff, likewise Steve Goldman. Daniel coming from Calgary, Goldman from Edmonton. Daniel was the defensive coordinator on those terrific Edmonton teams of the late 70s and early 80s. Second down and 7. Saskatchewan at the Saskatchewan 38. Burgess. One-handed catch by Conrad to the Ottawa 50. What a game David Conrad has had.
He's been so effective coming out of the backfield. Good speed, runs very structured routes, comes across to an area where he knows he has to get to give Burgess an open area. He's been very effective through the air tonight.
Well, that was a big league play all the way by David Conrad.
Great catch.
Was it ever? First and 10, Saskatchewan, Ottawa 51. Burgess to Conrad again. There's a flag down. Conrad has about 8 yards to the Ottawa 43. But it's holding against Saskatchewan.
Kent Austin watching from the sidelines. I think anytime you're a backup or not in the game, you want to get in, but when things are going smoothly, you're quite happy to see things continue on.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 44.
Roger Aldag playing in his 181st consecutive game tonight. Talk about remarkable achievement.
Well, for an offensive lineman and the bangs and the knocks that they take, that's just tremendous.
First and 20, Saskatchewan. Now the football at the Saskatchewan 49. Burgess has Elgard, and he's stopped right there. Good play by Darrell Patterson to bring him down.
Elgard helping out his quarterback, going down and finding the area, but coming back to the ball a little bit. You've got to increase the chances of catching the football, and if you can separate yourself from a defensive back and come back, it makes it tough to cover you, and a better chance for a catch.
Elgard got back to the original line of scrimmage, or just about. Second down and about 10.5 for Saskatchewan. The ball near the 51 of Ottawa. 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. Burgess has a man open, and Fairholm reaching back, couldn't catch it at the Ottawa 40.
There's a good look at Austin once again, but Jeff Bentram on the right there in the white golf shirt, marking down the plays. Every offensive play that is run is put on paper, so when they go to film, they know how to coordinate it and what is going on and who made mistakes.
Third and 10.5. Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 51. Baker to kick. 27-21. Saskatchewan leading. And Baker hits another bad one. He's going to get a good bounce out of it down to the 10, and Will Lewis won't find much room to return it as Terry Baker gets away with that one. 11:50 left in the fourth quarter. This CFN telecast is brought to you by Foster's Lager. Left in the fourth quarter at Lansdowne Park. Saskatchewan 6 points ahead of Ottawa in the CFL season opener for the two teams. And after a Terry Baker punt, Art Schleister and the Eastern Riders have a first and 10 at their 11-yard line. Gerald Alphen in motion left. Schleister back to pass. Wants Alphen. And has him up at the 18-yard line.
Lots of zip on that football. Sprinting to the left. Alphen's going to make that cut. And the man backpedaling gets a great catch, and the referee couldn't be any closer.
Well, and Schleister had no place else to throw that football.
Low and outside.
That was precision. Second down and 4 Ottawa from the 18-yard line. And the handoff goes to Robert Reed, and he goes nowhere. Bobby Jurison came through to upend him.
Jurison coming through. He's effective on the pass rush. He also reads the run well. Watch how low he gets off the block and then just spearheads himself in there. That quickness and the strength of the upper body that can take an offensive lineman when he's in your chest and throw him one side or the other and then launch yourself straight ahead.
Dominant player tonight, Bobby Jurison. That front 5 of Saskatchewan, or the 5 players they use on it, have all been effective. Third down and 5 Ottawa from the 17. Dixon to punt, and this is a beauty. Treflin at the 40. And Jeff Treflin is across the 50 to the 51 or 52 of Saskatchewan. Fred Glick's assistant coaches with the Ottawa Roughriders. Ardell Wiegand joining the staff this year, and Bob Swift back with Ottawa.
Ardell Wiegand, the Calgary fans will remember.
Former head coach of the Stampeders.
Fred Glick told us that he was to come back yesterday after the press conference after he drove John Gregory to the hotel to pick up Pal Sartori. Forgot to go pick him up, and Pal Sartori, being a bit of a runner, decided, well, he'd run home. It was only 5 or 6 miles.
Yeah, but you notice he didn't forget to go and play tennis with his wife today, Fred Glick.
Kerry Olarenko shaken up. He came flying down the field on that punt and almost made the tackle on Treflin. A little bit shaken, but coming off under his own steam. Picked up through the equalization draft from the Calgary Stampeders.
The fans getting into it. It lands down as Saskatchewan leading by 6 as a first down at the Saskatchewan 51. David Conrad. Good gain down to the 50 of Ottawa. They'll mark him at the 51, a gain of 8.
Here comes the short yardage. John Gregory sends in the big fellas. A little bit more weight on that offensive line, so he gets himself a surge. I'd like to see him throw a pass here. I think it'd be a great call. And maybe the Bobby Jerson.
Let's see what Burgess does. The long yard that they have. He gives to Milton Jones, who stops long enough to find some room and takes it down to the Ottawa 46, 47-yard line. Plenty for the first down.
That time the battle along the line of scrimmage was won by Saskatchewan. Again, Milton Jones showing his versatility. You see, he's going to go right. Good plant by the right and come straight upfield. Don't wait. Find that open area and get your shoulder pads and helmet down and get upfield.
Burgess and the Saskatchewan Roughriders marching. They're at the Ottawa 42. Burgess to Fairholm. He has it down at the 35-yard line. Hit hard by Troy Wilson, but he held on.
It almost seems to me like we can see Ottawa's defense get a little bit tired. They're bringing some extra people. They want to get some pressure on Burgess, and Burgess is just looking downfield. Fairholm's finding that open area and coming back to his quarterback.
Hasn't Burgess shown a lot of poise tonight?
Yes, he certainly has.
First and 10, Saskatchewan 36 of Ottawa. Conrad drops the football. And Saskatchewan got it back. David Conrad just flat out dropped the ball.
Well, sometimes it happens when you're not quite ready. He cuts back. It's closed off for him. Changes hands. Wants to put it in his left arm to keep it away from the tackler. That's the right thing to do. But sometimes, well, it just doesn't work.
Talk about dodging a bullet. Second down and 10. Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 35-yard line. Actually gained a yard on that play, so it's 2nd and 9. Burgess completes down to the 22-yard line to Ray Elgard. First down, Saskatchewan. And once again, we see tempers running short.
Things are getting a little heated.
You want to bet that Klein thinks he's being held?
Well, once again, the Riders bring some extra people, which means they're manning up in the secondary, taking advantage. A nicely run pattern underneath the coverage. See Burgess signaling to his running backs the count the ball's going to come up on with that right hand.
From the 23 of Ottawa, 1st and 10. Burgess, lots of time, throws, and let's see who has the ball at the 13. They're ruling it a catch. Ray McDonald. And it's another Saskatchewan first down.
Well, it seems to be a simple comeback. He'll start to the outside, then come back on a 45-degree angle. A little bit of a shove and battle going on, but you see the difference of stopping and waiting for the ball and coming back. Good coverage by Rod Brown. Nothing more he can do but just try to wrestle it out as he did.
Saskatchewan leading 27-21. Less than 7 minutes to go now in the fourth quarter. First and 10 at the 11. Conrad trying the middle. Very little room. He may have the 10-yard line, and that'll be it.
Well, in the second half, the Ottawa defense is, you see Klein getting up. Weary have been able to just bend and not break. But it's getting tougher. They've been on the field a long time in this drive. You've got to be worried.
Well, this will be a very key play coming up here. Second down and 9, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 10. Saskatchewan leading by 6 points. A touchdown here would really put them in the driver's seat. Burgess throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Ray McDonald. And that's his first CFL touchdown. He keeps the ball. Played 8 games last year, but didn't score a touchdown.
The whole drive has been tremendously well executed, and this is a good way to finish it off. The ball's thrown to the outside. Rod Brown, the cornerback, reacts well, but not quite in time.
The fourth touchdown pass of the game for Tom Burgess. And the Ridgeway convert puts Saskatchewan in front 34-21 with 6 minutes and 10 seconds left. Ever CFL touchdown that has given Saskatchewan a 13-point lead. That would be the ecstasy, and here is the agony. Anthony Woodson, linebacker for Ottawa, severed Achilles tendon. We are sorry to report. Ridgeway's kickoff to Will Clark. And he's down at the 32-yard line. Good kick coverage by the Roughriders from the west.
Pretty happy time anytime you get your first CFL touchdown. Works to the outside, then pushes him back inside like he's going to run a post, and back out to the corner. A well-run pattern. And adjusted nicely to the ball.
Well, he really had Rod Brown wondering which way to go next, and tremendous advantage. And turning back and looking for the ball, Tom Burgess, the former Ottawa Rough Rider, would be feeling pretty good right now. Schleister stays in and puts it up long, but the receiver stopped. Gerald Alphen stopped. And Schleister thought he was going long.
Schleister, having to throw the ball a long way, is going to have to step up. And anytime a quarterback releases like that, he's probably stepping into a crowd. Bobby Jurison works inside. Beats Irv Damon and goes right to the head of the quarterback.
What a dominant night the Saskatchewan defensive front has had. They don't have a whole pile of quarterback sacks, but they've been in that backfield all evening long. Schleister going to take off. There's a flag down. James Curry catches Schleister from behind. Another flag. I think they'll get Curry for face guarding. Schleister gained around 10 yards on that run.
I think you're going to be fairly accurate on the call on Curry tackling the head, which is a no-no.
Ross Perrier confirming what we suspected.
Straight drop back. The pressure comes from the outside. He has an opportunity to flip it off, but being the athlete he is, can get upfield, and there you see it. Whether he grabbed the helmet or the face mask, doesn't matter. He went for the head.
Irv Damon was called for the hold.
Robert Reed and Todd Dillon discussing the situation on the sideline.
And the result of that is that Ottawa gets a first down and a 5-yard advancement up to the 37-yard line. Schleister to pass, big pressure again, and he breaks away to gain 3 or 4 yards. David Albright made the stop.
In the first quarter especially, Bob, Ottawa was able to get Schleister to the outside. To do that, you have to get whoever's responsible for making the block, people up on the line of scrimmage to stop the rush upfield. Saskatchewan is getting the penetration and not allowing Schleister to get outside wide. He has to pull up and run in all of the clutter, and that clutter happens to be guys like Bob Jurison.
They just can't block Jurison. A lot of times, Neil, Schleister appears to me like he's just dropping into the pocket. Why doesn't he sprint out from the center?
Well, I was saying he can't sprint out because the ends are coming upfield so hard, they're getting penetration, they're not allowing him to go outside.
Second down and about 7. Schleister, he's got lots of room here. And he'll get a first down up across the 50 to about the 52. 4 minutes, 10 seconds left, fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leading 34-21. Saskatchewan came in here last year and beat Ottawa 27-23, their first meeting of the season. The Riders were 2-1. The Eastern Riders were 2-1 at that time. They went on to lose 13 games in a row. Saskatchewan has won 7 of the last 10 with Ottawa and 5 of the last 6 here at Lansdowne Park. And they're in control of this one as Schleister tries to get Ottawa back. And this will be 6 points. Harry Skipper. Boy, did that ever look easy.
A good word to use, maybe stunned. Ottawa's on the move, and Schleister gets a different read on defense. Instead of Harry Skipper at the corner dropping back, he sits up tight, and the halfback will run deep with Latham. Just a simple misread. And I've seen Skipper do this many times.
Now, Schleister at fault there was Latham. I mean, Latham was going upfield.
I don't know if you can point the blame at anyone, but it was maybe just a different look at defense. And it certainly worked.
Well, that'll pretty well put it away as the convert is added, and Saskatchewan goes in front 41-21.
I mean, you dream about
It's a nice job here of just dropping underneath the coverage in his area, the zone that he was responsible for, and just reacting to the throw.
Well, what do we make of Schleister's debut, Neil? He looked good in the first quarter. Since then, he has really struggled. He's thrown some passes in a very, very bad spot. Keeping in mind, here's a guy who hasn't played a game for 3 years.
Well, I think that's the key. You can practice as much as you want against your own teammates. You can watch film, but until you get on the field and experience and see the coverages and the people moving around, it's a different situation. I think we're going to see an awful lot of good things coming from Art Schleister.
Will Lewis knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Ottawa. Schleister, of course, played in the 2 preseason games for Ottawa, but those are a little bit different than the real thing.
Oh, there's no question about that. A lot of the defensive systems, they don't like to show you everything in the preseason. They play a very basic. But you've got to learn. Like you said, he's been out for 3 years. He's an intelligent fellow. He'll study these films, and he'll come back and be better for it.
And getting lots of encouragement, as you could see at the Ottawa bench. Dillon back in the game from the 47-yard line. James Curry after him. Dillon gets the ball off, and it's no good. They rule that Mark Lewis was out of bounds when he caught it.
They were in hot pursuit as Dillon sprinted to the right. He threw a very good ball to the outside. It was only going to be caught by the receiver. But the Saskatchewan defense is continuing to put pressure, whether it be up the middle or chasing him out of the pocket. And maybe as we look back, and I said earlier, rotating those defensive linemen of the Roughriders has made a difference. They are pressure in the fourth quarter. They've got their legs.
Less than 3 minutes to go. 41-21 Saskatchewan. Todd Dillon, man open over the middle. That's Gerald Alphen. And that's a first down to the Saskatchewan 45-yard line. 2:45 to go. Foster's Lager in the Canadian Football Network, proud to bring you the best of the CFL. 8-year-old former Ohio State star, the 4th player taken overall in the 1982 NFL Draft by Baltimore. Got off to a good start in the opening quarter through a touchdown pass and looked sharp, but it's been downhill since then. Todd Dillon in now. 2.5 minutes to go in the game. Saskatchewan leading by 20. Ottawa first and 10 at the Saskatchewan 45. Dillon for Alphen. He catches it and steps out of bounds at the 43 of Saskatchewan, a gain of 2 yards.
looking to Alphen much more in this last quarter, a little bit late. Ottawa continues to call the plays from the sidelines by shuffling in their running backs.
Dillon with 2nd down and 8 at the Saskatchewan 43. Steps up from the rush. Now Jurison has him and downs him at the 47-yard line. Well, if you haven't been with us the whole game, Bobby Jurison has been, let me see if I can come up with a suitable adjective. How does brilliant sound?
Well, he certainly has picked up where he left off at the end of the 87 season. To me, he seems like he's a more complete ball player now. He's played the run an awful lot better, continuing to come upfield hard, but that extra year of experience under his belt is going to make a big difference.
3rd down and 10, Ottawa. They'll go for it from the Saskatchewan 45. Dillon with pressure. Down he goes. Goldsmith was there. And so was Bobby Jurison. After the game, we'll select the CFN Most Valuable Player. It won't be Archie Strew, who you see standing there. And it's going to be a difficult choice. Burgess has thrown 4 touchdown passes. And Bobby Jurison has just been a force. Saskatchewan takes over on downs, and they put Ken Austin in at quarterback, and he nearly fumbles the exchange from center, rolls to his right, goes down for a loss of 3 or 4 yards. 1:53 the time remaining.
Not easy to come in cold and all of a sudden everyone's hot and sweaty and right into it, and he goes to pitch the ball, and the little thing slips and almost goes down between his legs. And then how do you do?
You know, this is the sort of playing time that really is of no value to a quarterback, is it? I mean, you got to finish the game, and you may as well give him a chance to get a bit of a feel for things. But Conrad catching a 2nd down pass and getting a big gain down to the Ottawa 32-yard line. Well, I would never convince Austin that play had no value.
Well, it's tough. I don't know. I'm sure that he would have liked to let Tom Burgess finish out the game. He started it. He's played very, very well. But this gives Austin an opportunity to really experience some playing time, even if it is a minute and a half. And it didn't take him long to pick Conrad up. And that play's been very successful. Running backs are coming out of the backfield with no responsibility of linebacker blitz. Delay over the middle underneath the linebacker drop.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Ottawa 32. Big lead for the Western Riders. Denny Ferdinand on a draw. He may go in. Oh, he's knocked out of bounds at the 2.5-yard line of Ottawa.
Well, I'd have to say that I'm suitably impressed in the change in the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and in a lot of ways, their execution, their confidence, and you can see they're always running on and off the field from the huddle. It's an attitude change. They realize that, and maybe John Gregory said it to us today when he said, or we asked him, how do you want to do? Where do you want to be this year? And he figures, well, we're just not going to look for a 500 season or to make the playoffs. We think we can take a shot at first place. And I think we're seeing that attitude tonight.
End zone view of the 1st and goal. Milson Jones. Yes, he got in. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. With 1:18 to go, the Western Riders make it 47-21.
Milson Jones, a powerful running back. Showed that in the Grey Cup game against the Eskimos many times. Put in a situation where he had to go over 2 or 3 people. He gets the shoulders down. He's a tough guy to stop. A lot of power in the back part of his legs.
Quite a debut for Milson Jones in a Saskatchewan uniform as Ridgway lines up to attempt to convert and make it 48-21, which he does. Jones, as I'm sure everybody has heard, just cut outright by the Edmonton Eskimos before the start of training camp. And he wasn't too pleased about that. Hopped in his car and went to Saskatoon and joined Saskatchewan. And he could really play a role with the Roughriders this year. He has already tonight.
Well, it's never easy to figure out why players are dealt or released. The Eskimos have a tremendous amount of talent, Canadian talent, at their running back spot. Milson Jones, the way I look at it, has made the league stronger because now he's taking his talents to Saskatchewan, will make them a better football club.
Meanwhile, in the Ottawa think tank, Fred Glick, Bob Swift, and another one of the assistant coaches ponder what has happened to them tonight.
A frustrated group, both as coaches and players, but I don't think they should walk away with their head down saying we really blew it. I think they've got a lot of good things to build on, and we could start by saying the maturity as the games go on with Arch Leister and Todd Dillon.
Orville Lee will return this kickoff, and he gets it up to the 30-yard line.
Orville Lee does have that ability to make good tacklers miss, don't they?
Yes, he sure does. Toronto and Hamilton will play their first regular season game at Ivor Wynn tomorrow night. Ottawa has to go into Toronto next Wednesday. We'll have that on CFN. Hamilton at Winnipeg Thursday. Calgary at BC Friday, again on CFN. And Saskatchewan will play its home opener. And what they've done tonight should draw a big crowd at Taylor Field when Edmonton comes in. Dillon handing off to Orville Lee. Bobby Jurison has him after a gain of a couple of yards. Well, Jurison was an All-Canadian last year, second in the league in quarterback sacks. And I guess he decided for an encore he'd be even better.
Well, he has said that he can be the type of person and a leader to take this team a little bit further than they were last year. Rick Clausen on the sidelines with Coach Ted Heath. So much of it is attitude, Bob.
Hudson on a quick pass from Dillon has a good gain of 11 or 12 yards, giving Ottawa a first down up at the Ottawa 47-yard line. Well, Terry Baker didn't have a good night. One of the few Saskatchewan Roughriders who struggled, but his problems punting the football did not hurt his team.
I think changing it around, allowing him to kick the ball straight away is going to help him. At least he did this game after he changed. It's not easy. I mean, I said it earlier on, to catch a ball, turn sideways, and then try to get the same swing in your leg to kick the ball to the sideline. Not an easy task at all. Very few have mastered it and do it well.
Vince Goldsmith tackling Orville Lee on that first down carry. 29 seconds left. The clock is running. Saskatchewan leading 48-21. I guess Bill Baker, the Saskatchewan GM, would prefer this over that 34-all tie. He thought would be so appropriate.
We talked to him before the game, and I don't think anything will ever change with the Undertaker. He gets fired up no matter whether he's playing.
Time count violation. Ottawa number 8.
Or if he's a general manager. He still gets pumped up for games. You still want to be around him when he gets a little crazy in a press box. That's all.
Well, he'll have that broad grin on tonight. His counterpart, Paul Robson, won't. "13 seconds left on the clock at Lansdowne Park. Saskatchewan 48, Ottawa 21. Dillon back to pass. Scrambling around, gets it away, has Lathan open, and he drops the football. Greg Lathan, who scored a touchdown in the first quarter and caught back-to-back passes for a total of 61 yards, drops one.
Lathan was a little bit inconsistent. Well, that's a scary sight.
Mark Ernest, the son of former Saskatchewan great Ted Ernest.
See him quickly turn around and go, whoop, punt team, better get out here.
He's snapping on third down. Just getting out there now.
Plenty of time. He'll tell you, I knew it all the way.
Ken Austin and the Saskatchewan Roughriders take over on downs. Austin will just do the old snap and kneel routine and use up a couple of seconds. 6 seconds on the clock. And what we have forthcoming will be the final play of the game. Great start for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, to state the obvious. For the Ottawa Roughriders, who are coming off a 3-15 season, not exactly what they were looking for. And there are still some people here at Lansdowne staying till the bitter end on a Beautiful night weather-wise, but not so beautiful if you're an Ottawa Rough Rider football fan.
And there were lots of fans to turn out to see how the debut for the Riders would go, and I think they were pleasantly surprised, especially in the first half. Saw a lot of excitement, a lot of good things, and I believe as a fan you want to see your team win, but when you can see something, the possibilities of the team getting better, you will continue to support. A lot of excitement on this team. Again, looking back, and it's easy to say now, but I think they have to go to the Gerald Alphins a little bit earlier. That will help open up the outside passes to Lathan and Mark Lewis, which were quiet, really, as the game progressed because they took certain things away.
You know, Fred Glick said the beauty of this time of the year is everybody's optimistic. You think you've improved your team. You're all fired up, and you're anxious to play and get it started. And then you go out and have this happen, and it's back to the drawing board for the Ottawa Rough Riders. For the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, what a terrific start.
Wednesday on the Canadian Football Network.
The Ottawa Rough Riders will face a major early season challenge when they journey to Exhibition Stadium to meet the defending Eastern Conference champion Toronto Argonauts, a team that many are picking to go all the way this season. That's Ottawa-Toronto Wednesday on CFN. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders blew open a close game with 3 touchdowns in the last 6.5 minutes to beat the Ottawa Rough Riders by 27 points. A lot of candidates for our CFN MVP award, but we chose Tom Burgess, who had a tremendous night. 4 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. He threw for 270 yards, and he's with us. Tom, first of all, congratulations. A great night for you.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Tell me how you felt going into this game. Your coach, John Gregory, told us that you really had a kind of a quiet confidence about you this season.
Well, you come into your 3rd year, and I really wasn't concerned about making the team as I was last year. Last year I was traded out there, and you start to worry about performing just so you stay on the team. This year I had pretty good confidence that I was going to be around, and I just wanted to prepare myself for each and every game. And it's more comforting, it's easier going, and I was a little more confident.
Did you think that you were going to draw the start tonight, or did you think Kent Austin had nosed you out during the preseason?
Kent played real well in the preseason, and I really think that you know, we're going to need 2-3 quarterbacks all year long. It's been proven in the past that CFL needs more than one quarterback. I did know a couple weeks ago that I would be the starter for this team starting out the season, and it wasn't released to the public as fast, but they did assure me that I would have been that I was going to be the starter.
Tell us what you found in that Ottawa defense that you were able to exploit tonight.
Well, Ottawa really tries to mix up their coverages, and we had heard them earlier, and when they dropped into a 2 zone, and they stopped going to that, but they still mixed them up pretty good. But you know, we executed better than we have all camp, I'd say, and I'm really pleased with the way we executed as quarterbacks and receivers. They were mixing them up, but I think we had a real good preparation for them. I think we really knew what they were doing, and you know, when you know what the other defense is doing, it's a lot easier to execute.
I don't know if you'd think that David Conrad would be a big part of your offensive attack, Tom, but he certainly was tonight.
Hey, we got 4 backs that are all big part of our offense. We got, I mean, we are really striving for a balanced attack. We really feel that our 4 receivers should all catch about the same amount of balls, and our 4 backs should all get the same amount of carries, and that's the way we hope to get through this year, and we really think we have a good depth in our offense. We just have some unproven players like myself and some of our receivers.
Great start for Tom Burgess in the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Thank you, Tom. Our post-game coverage on CFN will continue in a moment.